Relationships, something that for the first 25 years of my life, I didn't really care about or know anything about. And it wasn't until a couple of months after my 25th birthday that I heard a motivational speaker say something that I've heard dozens of times in my life. He said, there's going to be two things that matter at the end of your life. He said, it's going to be the relationships that you've built and the impact that you've made. Like I said, I've heard this a dozen times, but I really heard it this time. I heard it so much that I decided to go on a path to self-discovery and really life change. And so in this documentary, I'm going to walk you through this story. You know, for the year of 2016, I battled with depression. I went to a bar right up the street from my apartment on my own almost every day of the week to drink on my own. I felt completely alone and disconnected to the world around me, despite the fact that for a 24-year-old at the time, 24-year-old at the time, I had the world at my feet. I felt like, you know, society would have said, Sam, you're successful. I was a college dropout turned medical sales rep. And I was making pretty good money for somebody in my early to mid-20s. I was living in one of the nicest parts of Cleveland. And the society would have said, Sam, you're successful. But yet I felt completely disconnected to the world around me. And therefore I battled really with depression that entire year. And that's why I'm starting this documentary in a car, because I feel like it's a good representation of the way that I felt. Because in a car, you know, you're separated from the world around you. You're kind of closed inside of yourself. You're really not known to the world around you. And that's really how I felt at that point in time in my life. And so at the start of 2017, I decided enough is enough. You know, I want to figure this out. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to battle with depression anymore. And so I started to seek purpose in my life. I started to say, well, what am I put on this earth to do? And I'm really tired of fitting the mold of what society says I'm supposed to be. And so I went down this path and I realized I don't want to do this alone. You know, I don't want to do this life alone anymore. And so that's when I heard that motivational speaker say that. And so, you know, I started to become obsessed with improvement in the area of relationships. And I've started to realize the value of them. I started to dive into books like The Friendship Factor, Daring Greatly, The Gifts of Imperfection, tons of books about relationships and about how to bring your true self to the world. And what I realized is that many of us struggle with this. Many people struggle with real, authentic, genuine relationships, because what we do is we bring to the world who we're supposed to be versus who we actually are. And that's what I was doing almost my whole life. And so what I figured out was that relationships, one of the keys to relationships is bringing your authentic self to the world and showing the world who you actually are. And that's how you create true connection and belonging. And what I figured out is that most people, actually every person on earth, what they want more than anything is true connection and true belonging. And so I began to improve in this area of my life, and I started to understand the value of relationships and how they actually are everything in our life. Since becoming obsessed with this area of my life and learning how to build real, authentic relationships, I've been able to build much stronger relationships, first starting with my family. A couple of months ago, I got into an argument with my parents, and after the argument, I went up to Mom and said, hey, do you want to hug it out? Of course, she said yes. And then I went over to my father, we embraced each other, we both said I love you, and we both cried. Something that a year ago, 5 years ago, I would have never done. But what it did is it built within me and my father a deeper connection and relationship, because I allowed him to see who I truly was. And what that's doing is building within me an inner peace that I didn't know existed a few years ago. I'm not saying don't go out and succeed and be as successful as you can at whatever you do. I'm just saying that at the end of your life, your tombstone is not going to say successful athlete, successful business person, successful salesperson, successful whatever you do. It's going to say beloved father, mother, friend, brother, sister. So learn what it takes to build real, authentic relationships, and learn what it's like to have that inner peace that I'm discovering. God bless.